Hey, what up, guys? It's me again, and welcome to the This Is My Moment podcast. And here at This Is My Moment, we love to have fun. We all family, and we gonna laugh a little bit. Let's go get it.
There ain't no stopping it. This is my moment. Join the movement. We bringing people together, bringing positivity, making changes for the better.
Today, I got a guy with me I want to touch on his brain. I want to see where he's at with me. See what he got. Introduce yourself to the family.
Hey, everybody. Thank you, Patrick. Super excited to be here with you. My name is Ryan Joseph Kopyar. I could probably give you a long rundown of some of my accolades and some of the different titles that the world has given me, but I believe that we should be a soul and not a role, right? So I really just kind of embrace that I'm here to help people to facilitate change in their life. So that's a short answer to what could be a big question.
Dig that. So I'm looking at you on the social media, man, and I'm Googling your name and all this stuff, man. And it says that you are a facilitator. What's that? Like a personal facilitator? What exactly is it?
Mm-hmm. Well, when I worked in the health and wellness industry for about a decade, I noticed a pattern where people would come to me and they would say, Ryan, thank you so much. You helped to change my life.
Yeah.
And I guess I kind of took that for granted initially. I was certainly happy to make a positive impact in their life, but didn't really realize maybe the extent to which I was doing it. Yeah. So I used to kind of call myself Ryan the life changer, but then I realized nobody changes our life except for us, right? So I'm the life change facilitator, helping other people to be a facilitator to change their life.
Yeah. So you give them the knowledge to make that change.
Yes, sir.
That's it. So when I was looking you up, man, it says that weakness is scary, the unknown, right? And I touched a little bit on it. What do you think makes the unknown so scary to people, man?
So our minds, kind of how we are as human beings, we always like to gravitate towards what is familiar.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And even if it's uncomfortable, see, people will say the comfort zone. No, it's not the comfort zone. It's the familiar zone.
Uh-oh.
To step outside of the familiar zone is unknown. And that's what can be scary.
Yeah. And you know what's funny, man? I tell people all the time, and maybe this is not the direction, but you can get so comfortable, right, that you don't want to step out of there. You don't want to see what's on the other side of that fence because you're okay with where you're at.
Right.
And do you believe that in order to grow, you got to step out for that? Like, I've never seen someone grow more than a 3-inch circle in a 3-inch circle. Like you only can grow to where you let yourself stay. What do you think, man? You think you got to step over that fence?
I like that. Yeah, it is. Chaos is a necessary part of change, but that's scary, right? But to your point, the only way that you can grow is to step into that chaos and put yourself in an environment where you can create that change.
Yeah. Give me a couple of ways for people to embrace the unknown. Like what can people do to make fear a motivator?
So there's two things. There's a lot of different things. I think it depends on kind of where they are at, right? So to somebody who's feeling really, really down, and just overwhelmed, and they don't know what the next step is going to be. Maybe they don't know what the next hour is going to be.
Yeah.
Right. I say this: when you feel like you have nowhere to go, you're free to go anywhere.
Yeah. Brother, I like that.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
So it's unknown, but that's kind of a good thing. It's an unknown, right? Because you're free to go anywhere. It's a blank slate. You get to create it.
Yeah.
For people that maybe aren't super down and out, right? And maybe they're okay, but kind of in a status quo okay. I
Yeah.
say this. We're going to go there in our mind, Patrick, before
Yeah.
we ever go there in the external world and our external experience.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how do I embrace the unknown? Is that I don't make it unknown. I make it known to my mind.
Mm.
So I will naturally go there in my life.
Yeah. Yeah. See it first.
Yes.
But like I do motivational speaking and what I do for a job just to pay the bills. I go out and mentor kids and things of the nature, adults and things. And a lot of what I hear is that people are afraid to step out because they're afraid of failure, right? Like stepping out when you're comfortable and you have something working, you got a 9 to 5, right? That pays the bills. It just pays the bills, gives you a little bit extra, but you don't want to take a risk or take that chance because you don't want to fail. And failure to me breeds fear. What do you think about how fear and failure impacts one another? Do you think they go hand in hand, or it's kind of not so much for you? What do you think?
Yeah, I think they absolutely go hand in hand. I also think that, as Napoleon Hill says, in every seed of failure is an equal opportunity for a seed of success. And I'm kind of paraphrasing there, right? But failure and success, they go hand in hand. You can't have one without the other.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And you know what's funny, man? I'm not afraid to fail because I want to try. Like being a retired military guy, right? And they send me different places here and there, and you see so much, and you're like, man, I can have that. I can be that. But it's not the conventional thinking, right? And a lot of times the conventional thinking keeps you in place. And every time that I saw something, all the places I've been, I see these things, right? And I'm like, man, that's a good idea. I can implement that, right? And as scary as it is, and as much as it costs me mentally to think about it, and I'm like, you know what? They own to something. And I think you own to something, brother. So I'm looking, right? And it says, take one day at a time, take a half day at a time, take 1 hour at a time. Do you believe that a lot of people get a little nervous, get a little scared because they're trying to rush it instead of taking those steps like that? What do you got for me?
Again, this can go two ways, right? When we're really, really down and out, and then sometimes when we're doing okay, but we're trying to take it to the next level. So what do you say we attack that from both situations so we can have as many? When I was at a very dark time in my life, I speak about this in my book. I had been arrested, lost everything, lost my job, right? That was at that moment in my life was one of the lowest points in my life. And I actually thought I was going to get kicked out of the place that I was renting because it was just everywhere in the newspaper, right? And I remember my landlord at the time, who really was like a friend, he came down to me and he said those words. And Patrick, I'll never forget how much hope that gave me in that moment. He goes, Ryan, you don't need to worry about, where you're going to be a month from now or a week from now. He goes, if all you can do is just get through the next day or the next half a day or the next hour, man, if that's all you can do, then that's all you can do. Get through it. Build some momentum that you got through that, right?
Yeah.
Versus having to feel like you got to climb the whole mountain all at once.
Yeah, yeah. And we talk about stuff like that at This Is My Moment, man. Is a lot of people don't understand that one step is still progress, right? Yes. In the world that we live in, man, everyone wants instant gratification. You want to do it, you want to be the best. You want to do it, you want to achieve the most, right? But
that's right.
I believe that if you take it slow and you enjoy the one step and you are able to build on the one step, now you take 2 steps. Yeah. Right? Now you enjoy your second step. Now you're up to 2 steps, right?
Right.
And it may not be overnight. It may take you 10 years.
Right.
It may take you 10 years, but you're doing it the way that benefits you. You're doing it the way that you want at your pace. And I think progress is self-paced.
Amen.
And a lot of people don't do that because you see all the people that you look up to. You're on the computer, right? And you see all these people doing it fast, and everybody has a plan for you that may work. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And I believe when you talk about the 1 day to half a day, that hour, man, is just taking that one step and enjoying it and then building that momentum. And now you can see the progress. You talked about it. And when you were down, right, when you was at your low point, right, and you getting ready to get kicked out, man, getting arrested, what kept you motivated? You know what I mean? Like, what motivated you to change your surroundings, change your situation? What got you going?
To be vulnerable with you, there was a
Yeah.
period where I didn't have it going. I didn't. It was, I felt pretty hopeless. I felt pretty down. And I think that's what allows me to connect with people with the work that I do, where I can really intimately understand what that's like.
Yeah.
And I think that we live in a world where there's like a stigma. But what I would say to people is this: it's okay to not be okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Right?
Yeah.
What we resist will persist. So if I'm beating myself up because I'm not doing okay, what does that do? All it does is keep me more down, right? So I think for me, it was realizing, okay, I'm not okay right now. I'm pretty down and out. I'm going to sit here in this and not deny what it is. This sucks. Maybe at that point in time in my life, I stayed there a little bit longer than I wished that I had.
Yeah.
But I did. I think from there, it was, okay, again, I've got nowhere to go, but I've got everywhere to go. And how do I want to reinvent myself? How do I want to show back up in the world? What meaning do I want to give to this event? What's waiting for me on the other side of this pain? And I think kind of thinking about how can I make, my test into my testimony? How am I going to work through this? Yeah. That's what gave me the motivation to keep going.
I like that, brother. I like that. I want to just touch a little bit about your book too, man. I think what the power of the mind.
Unlock the power of your mind. Yes.
What got you to writing it? What did it take for you to say, you know what? I'm finna give this to the people. What'd you do?
I had a lot of pain built up inside.
Yeah.
I speak about it in the book. My mother was raped and killed when she was 8 months pregnant with my sister.
Wow.
I did not grieve the death of my mother. I didn't give it the meaning. I buried it. I didn't give it any meaning because I just buried it down inside.
Wow.
And I had that situation. I had experienced some other loss in my life. But then I dealt with a marriage that never happened, job loss, and a serious car accident, all in the span of 3 or 4 months, right? And I had kind of started writing the book prior to that.
Yeah.
But at that point, I was living in my buddy's basement, sleeping on a couch. And I said, okay, Ryan, what are you going to do? Why did this happen for you and not to you? How can you use your story to empower others?
Yeah.
And man, once I kind of made that flip, I was like, okay, I got to get my story out there into the world.
Brother, that's a lot. That's a lot. That's a lot. And you know what's funny, man? And I was talking to a real good friend of mine, and I'll tell him the worst thing that we can do as men is not embrace the things that happen to us. You know what I mean? And I tell people all the time, you don't want to seem vulnerable. You don't want to seem like you don't have it together. You know what I mean? And then I think that actually weighs on you more than actually getting it out. You know what I mean? Like getting it out and accepting it and owning it and fixing it and finding a way to cope with it, to me, is just better than pushing it under the rug. And now you have these thoughts, right? Now you have these thoughts. It's always there. It ain't went nowhere. But when you suppress it, now it weighs on you a little differently than when you actually get it out there and let it be known, man. So good for you on that, to understand where you are, where you want it to be, because it would have been easy to sit there, brother.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell you what you went through, a lot of people go through less and come out way worse. Like when you did that, you put yourself in a position to be super successful, man. And congratulations, man. Good, good.
Thank you, Patrick. I appreciate that.
Oh man, no worries. And you talk about mindset too, right? I'm a mindset guy. I think that changing your vocabulary, changing the way that you talk, changing the words that you use starts with your mindset. Because if you have a negative mindset, your words seem more negative, right? And then the more negativity, now it starts compiling, right? So now you have to dig yourself out of that hole. I want to ask you this here. What do you believe is the biggest misconception people have when it comes to rewiring their mindset?
I think the biggest thing that people struggle with, at least in my work, is people come to me and they say, okay, I know what I'm thinking, right? But I don't know why I'm thinking it. I don't understand how the program got wired into my mind.
Yeah.
Well, if we can't figure out what the root cause is, it's going to be, you can't change the fruit if you don't change the root. Right? So if I want to change my mindset, if I want to rewire things, well, I've got to change whatever the root cause is of that which developed the mindset, right? So it's really, I think the key to beginning to change your mindset is to really dive into, okay, what am I thinking and why am I thinking it? Who told me it? And is it still true?
Man, you know what's funny though? To me, that's a difficult conversation. That is a very difficult conversation. And I tell you what, it's hard to have that conversation, first off, with yourself. Because when you have that difficult conversation with yourself, that means you got to own it.
That's right.
Brother, and ain't nothing like owning something that you don't want to own. Hey, man. And that rewiring the mindset, once you have that conversation with yourself, and once you're honest and open with yourself, then to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, to me, once you have that conversation, the rewiring and the thinking changes, it becomes easier. You believe that, or is it still a little bit more difficult, or is it some other way that you can get around that?
Yeah, we can't control the thoughts that come into our mind,
right?
But we can control what thoughts we focus on. So I can rewire my mindset. I say release, rewire, be ready, right? So I can release the old programming and I can begin to rewire it in. At the same time, as human beings, we're still going to have some of those old thoughts pop up. Yeah. Here's the key. Once I've made the shift, I recognize those thoughts. I can have gratitude for those thoughts and where they came from, and then I can begin to release them, right? So I'll share a personal example. For me, that was abandonment programming, right? Yeah. Little Ryan, shortly before his 3rd birthday, mom never came home, right? Yeah. So I wasn't consciously aware of that, of course, but in my body and in my subconscious mind, little Ryan was crushed because mom never came home, right? So there's this fear, there's this abandonment type issues. Took me almost 30 years to really be able to identify, hey, okay, what is that root cause, right? But then once I realized what it was, then I can start to do the work into rewiring it. And now when that thought comes in again, right? Let's say my wife does something and it's totally no big deal, right? Just kind of whatever her regular thing. She left her phone someplace and so she didn't text me, right, for half the day or whatever the case may be. I can recognize when those thoughts come up. And this is so powerful for the listeners and the viewers, right? When those thoughts come in, now they're not as scary. Now they're not as overwhelming. And you can lean into me and say, oh, thank you. I know where you came from. You're just trying to protect me, but you're not needed anymore.
Boy, you own us something. Oh, man, I love that. Let me ask you this. When you were getting down, right? When you were getting down and all these things were happening to you, right? Did you have a place that you went, like a happy place? Like for me, I like grilling, right? Like I love barbecuing, man. And when I have a long day, man, I go outside now, I throw me a steak on there or some ribs or something, and I'm just at peak, maybe a margarita. We ain't
yes, sir.
Don't tell nobody, but that's my happy place. When I'm upset, man, and I need it, I go to the grill. Where do you go, man, to your happy place to get you back centered?
Two answers to that.
Okay.
Number one, the gym.
I knew that one.
Yeah, the gym. That's number one. Here's the other thing. I'm a man of faith,
Yeah.
and so for me, reconnecting my relationship with my higher power, which I call God. Some of the listeners and the viewers may identify by a different name, right? But realizing, right, that there is a power greater than me, but that it also exists within me, and if I can connect to that power, that can help to get me through the most difficult times.
Solid. Do you have a quote? You have a quote you go to that adds on to your belief in your faith? What's your go-to quote, man?
My go-to quote is release the old fear, release the old programs, right? Rewire that brain to have the programming for what it is you want: health, wealth, abundance, peace, love, joy, whatever that may be. Yeah. And then the last part is to be ready, because that life you want, it can be one day away, one decision away, one phone call away. And you better be ready to embrace it when it comes, because it's there just waiting to be called into your life. So release, rewire, and be ready.
That's a solid one. I like that. And you know what's funny? You said it, man, because you never know. And I call it blessings. I have a higher faith also. And I call it blessings, man. And you never know when your blessings gonna come. And if you're not ready, you can miss out on an opportunity that will be life-changing. And I'm not talking just for you. I'm talking about for the people that you help, that the people that look up to you. You know what I mean? And for you not being ready, that has a lifetime of consequences. And I don't necessarily mean bad. I just mean different. Different. And I used to say it to my ball players all the time, man. I stay ready, so I ain't got to get ready.
That's right.
So when that time comes, I'm already in action. I've already laid down the foundation to where when it is my time, we gonna rock and roll, baby.
Yes. Yeah, I love it. Can I add one other thing to that about the blessings?
Talk to me.
Have an open mind and an open heart, because where the blessing will come from can sometimes come in the most unexpected places. So we may be pouring our heart and our blessings and our effort into a certain area.
Yeah.
And where we get it back from our higher power, from the universe, may come from a completely different place. And if we're so focused on seeing and focusing on where it's going to come from based on our vision or our wants, right? To your point, we can miss out on it coming from a completely different place in a completely different way.
You're right, man. You're right. And it's funny because I talk about treating everyone the same, right? I'm a huge believer in everybody is worth the time that I have, right? If I can't say that I'm out there trying to help people, but I only want to help a certain people, right? Like if you're the CEO and you're having a bad day, we should be able to talk. If you are the maintenance worker or you just take the trash out, right? Or you just clean the bathroom, I should still be able to talk to you the exact same way. If you're a kid that's having a problem with their parents and you don't know how to approach it, I should be able to talk to you the same way, right? And I give and I give and I give, because you never know what you're going to receive from that gift. You don't know who that person's attached to. You don't know what that person is 2 or 3 years down the line. And if you treat everyone like they're special, if you treat everyone unique and the way that they want to be treated, man, I think the sky's the limit when it comes to that, because you never know.
Yep.
Man, we on the same wavelength with that, brother.
Yes, sir.
Here goes the fun part, though. I like where we were going, man, and I like what you're talking about. But at the end of the shows, I like to have a good time.
Okay.
And we play a little game. It's a word association, word choice kind of game. I'll give you a phrase. Tell me the first thing that comes to your mind. So the first question I have for you, I know that you're a hypnotherapist. I saw that. A personal trainer, a sports nutritionist, an author. You only get to keep one. You get to keep one thing that you are. What are you keeping?
An author, because I can continue to help people while I'm here and when I'm gone.
Yes, sir. That legacy. That legacy. The people that you touch is your legacy. I like that. I
Yeah,
like
that was an easy one for me.
let me try to make this next one harder then. The journey or the destination?
Always the journey, man. Always the journey. For me, the destination, well, I think a healthy person is always growing, is always changing, is always working to improve, right?
Yeah.
So that destination for me has looked so many different ways, right? And I've reached so many destinations. And guess what? Some of them I reached and I was like, man, this wasn't what I thought it was going to be, right? And now I look back, dude, it was the journey that was fun.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what's funny, man? I always consider like destinations gas stops. Like when I travel, my destinations are gas stops. And I say that because in my life, I have to have a point where I want to reach. And in order to get to that point, I have to grow to get to that point. You know what I mean? And that's me moving in that direction. And I tell people all the time, the reason I set my goals and my aspirations so high is because I want to grow into the person that can achieve that, right? If I set my goal at $100, right? I just want to make $100. I go make $100, then what? But I haven't grown $100. I can make $100 pretty much in my sleep. If I set my goal at $1 million, now I got to think. Now I got to change. Now I got to move. Now I got to change my circle, right? Put people around me that are millionaires. So now I can see what they're doing so I can become a millionaire, right? And when you say the journey, man, I agree. I agree with the journey 100%, brother, because I like seeing what I can become.
Yeah. I like that about the gas stations because it's kind of like those celebrating, right? Those reaching those destinations is also very important because it kind of refuels us up to go to that next destination.
Yes, sir.
I like it. I like it.
I appreciate that. I'll be practicing, man. If I give you the phrase, this is my moment, what's the first thing that comes to your mind? This is my moment.
This is my moment.
Yeah.
I don't care if you are at your lowest of low.
Yeah.
Like for me, it was I'll be super vulnerable. I was in the jail cell, Staten Island precinct jail cell.
Yeah.
I remember thinking, wow, Ryan, this is where you're at, right? And all the amazing opportunities that life has given you, right? College educated, you know, came from a middle class family in blue collar America.
Yeah.
Was given all of the tools to be successful.
Yeah.
And here you are, you end up in this jail cell. But you know what, Patrick? It was at that point in time where I said, this is my moment.
Yeah.
This is my moment. This is where I'm going to decide. Does the old Ryan die?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't mean literally die, right? Does the old Ryan die?
Yeah.
And a new Ryan gets to be birthed out of this. And that was really one of the biggest inflection points of my life. So I would say any moment can be your moment. And sometimes our greatest calling can come when we feel like we are at our lowest point. So maybe my overarching thought would be any moment can be your moment if you choose it to be your moment.
Too easy, brother. And you know what? I'm going to tell you, you're telling me that story, right? And I'm going to go back to something that you said in the very beginning. In order to change the fruit, you got to change the root.
That's right.
That's exactly, to me, listening to your story, man, that's exactly what you did. You was like, look, I don't want to be this. And in order for me to change this, I got to change me. And man, that's, and looking at you and reading you up on you, man, that's exactly what you did, man. Congratulations. Because it could have been different if you wouldn't have changed the route. Mm-hmm. So, man, congratulations, man. And thanks for talking to me. Thanks for spending time with me. And I can't wait to see what else is going on, man. I'm following you on the social media stuff now, brother. So you got you I don't know how much one gonna count, but I'm gonna tell you, this one's gonna share and love and ride with you now, brother.
I appreciate that, Patrick. Same here, man. I'm so grateful that we were able to connect, and
Yeah.
I love what you're doing, and I can just tell you have such an amazing energy about your soul, man. So
Right.
I fully support you, and following you on social media too. We'll put this
Appreciate it.
out there and share it, man. So
Yeah.
many blessings to you, and yeah, so grateful to connect with you.
Hey guys, sometimes you got to change the route to change the fruit. Change the situation. Understand where you want to go. Stop, fill up, keep moving. The journey, not the destination. But at the end of the day, we still gotta go get it.
There ain't no stopping it, this is my moment. Join the movement, we bringing people together, bringing positivity, making changes for the better.